Welcome to the No BS Spiritual Book Club's live streaming interview series, where leading new thought teachers, speakers, and authors share the intimate stories behind the 10 best spiritual books that inspired them the most on their spiritual journey. From well-known classics to hidden gems you might never have heard of, the No BS Spiritual Book Club saves you time and money by sharing reliable recommendations from those who've walked the path before you. The No BS Spiritual Book Club, the only No BS guide to the best spiritual books to inspire your own journey of self-discovery. Here's your host, founder of the No BS Spiritual Book Club, Sandie.
Hello and welcome. Joining me today to share the 10 books that had a major impact on her life and work is former Ford agency model and classically trained actress Karuna, who has spent 40 years studying and teaching Kundalini Yoga. With a background in Hinduism, Buddhism, and Lakota Sioux healing traditions, Karuna is also an ordained Interfaith Minister and a member of the Founding Mothers Movement for Planetary Peace. She also co-founded Light on Light Publications and Media, is host editor for its free e-magazines, and author of the books Light on Kundalini, Your Lifestyle Guide to Yoga and Awakening, and Light on Kundalini Yoga Manual. Karuna, welcome.
Thank you so much, Sandie. I'm so happy to be here with all your beautiful people out there. I so welcome you. I'm in the Rocky Mountains. I have 33 peaks of the Continental Divide, and it's a still day today, so we should have quiet in the background, but one never knows.
And there's truth. I have to ask you, what is the weather like?
Today it's going to be in the single digits, so maybe 0.
Oh,
so
okay.
Very, very, very chilly con carne, we call it up here. But the lungs and everything benefit from this. I'm at 8,500 feet, so the altitude is keeping me young.
So let's talk about you. I mean, as a child, you were very early on reading biographies and autobiographies of women, from early diaries of Anais Nin, collected stories of Colette and the Belle Epoque. What attracted you to those kinds of books?
I really I lived in New York City when I was super young and moved there from Paris, moved out of Boulder when I was 19, went to Paris, and then went to New York. And where I found those books, they just literally dropped off the shelf in front of me. I'm inspired by women. I'm inspired now by the Divine Feminine. I'm making films with the Divine Feminine. I'm interviewing women like yourself to talk about what is going on in the universe with the Divine Feminine and how we have forged through to bring forth what's going on. So they were my first inspirations because they were kind of beautiful and trendy and Parisian, maybe, you know, until you learn the long history of the struggle. And they shared that struggle in there. And then I could relate to my own struggle within that context. It was also.
You also were given by your uncle some really old books when you were studying at the Bristol Old Vic in the UK. Shakespeare, Ben Jonson, musicals, etc., doing all that kind of thing and getting books by Kipling and Lord Lytton. I mean, what a treasure trove.
There they are. They're right there.
I can't see them.
Right.
Oh, there, behind you. Oh, wow.
They're right
you
behind
travel
you.
with them, do you?
And they're, sorry?
You travel with them?
Oh, no, never. They don't come out now, which Uncle David would like say, oh, go take them out, but no, they're treasures. And I look at them. I'm inspired by them. I pull them out. I read from them, and I'm very inspired by them. Reading page to page in those type of Dickens is very challenging, as a matter of fact. And they're making all the movies these days with wonderful actresses and actors. So I'm kind of, inspired by the presence of them and knowing that they're my backbone.
Well, let's talk about the books, the 10 books that inspired you
Great.
the most. And what an interesting collection you've got here. Number 1, In the Absence of the Sacred, The Failure of Technology and the Survival of the Indian Nations by Jerry Mander, published in 1992.
Modern technology advanced in such a tiny increments for so long that we never realized how much our world was being altered, or the ultimate direction of the process. And that goes with Kundalini Yoga so well, because Hatha Yoga takes 22 years to master, and Kundalini Yoga takes 6 months to get a feel of the mind, to get a feel of meditation, to add that to a practice you already have. So Native American, I have a spiritual name. My Lakota Sioux name is Chantei Tonwawagalakawi, and that's woman that speaks from her heart. And I was given this name on a little piece of paper in a Vermont sweat lodge by a medicine man. I didn't ask. And so I carried that torch onward throughout, the last 30 years of the Lakota Sioux tradition. And this book speaks so much in the later stages of an epic worldwide struggle. The forces of Western economic development are assaulting the remaining native peoples of this planet. And we see it being, right here and now. We see it on the Pine Ridge Reservation. We see women in trailers, homing, helping 25 young children to heat, using a stove to heat them, keep them warm. Food is just not available. And so early on, when I left London, actually, I took on this self-initiation of Lakota and started studying, and had the opportunity to be in a couple of major sweat lodges. That changed my whole trajectory out of the Bristol Old Vic to suddenly carrying a medicine pipe. Happens very quickly, as you know, these awakenings. And then with the likes of John Denver and myself, not necessarily together, but separately, these institutions where the Aspen Center was being developed to deliver food and clothing to these reservations. And Frank Fool's Crow was, and I was in suddenly his awarenesses of helping Grandma Gertie up on the road at the Rosebud. And so there was just so much brilliance in this book for me, that he really, and we talk about it in Kundalini Yoga, how technology is just going to become obsolete sooner or later. What are we going to do with sitting with ourselves? How are we going to serve each other as we're watching this destruction go on today in LA? I lived in LA for a long time. I knew those areas.
Yeah.
And I, to this day, so interesting what's going on for us right now. We're really, really in the pulse of what's going on.
And the sad thing is that many people still think it's happening to us, that we are not, engaged
so true.
in all of this. Yeah.
It's so true. And we are only ones responsible for this, to change our behavior, to change our mindset, to change our frequency and vibration. And it's fair. I was sitting with a young man last night, and he was like, how do I work, Karuna? They're all so negative. Everyone is so negative. And I said, that's okay. Just listen. You don't have to get on that train and sail that boat with those. You listen and you respond by listening. And it's okay. At least they're trusting you to bring out the negativity in themselves.
Yes, a very sad state of affairs. Your next book, number 2, is Woman as Healer by Jean Achterberg, published in 1991. Yeah, there's a connection between all of these books on your list. Yeah.
Yeah. Women as a healer, the healing activities of women from prehistoric times to the present. So with Kundalini Yoga, we work 7 generations out to 7 generations to come, and we take responsibility. And yes, there is a lot of feelings from the past within our ancestral realms. And we develop this relationship with our grandmothers for a reason. And we develop them with our great grandmothers, and we carry that torch. The advice is here, sleep on it. Now, I'm jumping to Edgar Cayce, but let me go back to women as a healer. This is a panoramic survey of the healing activities of women from prehistoric times to the present. This knowledge is paramount to understanding what women healers have gone through, including their persecution in the witch hunts of the Middle Ages and the development of midwifery and nursing as women's professions in the 19th century, and to understanding their current role and the state of the healing arts. As a Kundalini yogi whose practice encourages, supports, and honors the divine feminine and all of her facets, including healing and coming back into wholeness, I find this book to be it's a beautiful exploration of what was those 7 generations. My grandmother from Slovakia, I loved being with her. We were sent on a train, the 4 of us, from Colorado, from Denver, and we'd go into Peoria, and Grandpa would pick us up, and we'd stay with Grandma for 3 months. And she was a Slovakian refugee from a peasant family and living in Chicago. And thankfully, Grandpa had resources enough to give her a happy life, but there was always something. And then my uncle went to Vietnam, and then there was that. So it seems that we've been really hit in our ancestry with tragedy. What do we do with this? I take this responsibility to uplift and, to mature myself. And from starting in New York City as a model, or Paris as a model, one-way ticket to Paris, it just, has this effect on you to take care of yourself. Because you really do understand when you're out there in a January blizzard in Long Island in a bikini, that they care about the picture.
Yeah.
And they'll do everything to keep you warm. But once it's taken, you're done. Yeah. And you're like, wait, And so instantly you've got to blanket and comfort yourself and find that way. And these healers in this book really share their stories. It's important. It's important.
Book number 3 is Edgar Cayce on Dreams, True Life Examples of Dream Interpretation and How to Make It Work for You, by Dr. Harmon H. Bro, edited by Hugh Lynn Cayce.
Yeah. He's amazing, right? To this very day.
Yeah. Sleep on it.
Sleep on it. That's the advice I give, is wait. Don't make a decision. Listen to your dreams. They're profound when you get your sense of who you are, somewhat. Removing I am nothing to I am no thing idea. Feeling of how do I connect with my dream world? Diet has a lot to do with early bedtime, early rise, sadhana, in the sacred practice of sadhana, getting up early, doing your mantras, doing your mudras, moving your body, cleansing, a lot of cleansing, gives you, I think, access. And I've always been a prolific dreamer. I mean, it's just been incredible. My life in theater changed when I moved back to Colorado, said no to an opportunity at the Man in the Moon Theater in London because I just moved, saw the dream There's a football field. I was on one end. That's significant because I'm raised as a football child. Both my fathers were football coaches. Both my brothers are football coaches in the NFL. Can't get better. Yet, so it was significant. So these dreams, put me in front of a football field, put me on one side, and the woman who got the job on the other, who took my place, not from me, but I said no. And I got to feel what that was like, not to go and perform at the Man on the Moon. And I called the director. I woke up, I called the director, and I said, can I have it? Can I still, because it was just a dream. So he's like, 100%. Changed my life. That piece by Jean-Paul Sartre, The Respectable Prostitute, changed my life. And my dreams continue to do that. So that was a very supporting book for me. But so distilled wisdom, language simple and clear. I always jump to the next one to read about this. So what do I say? Sleep on it always resonated with me in dreams. People experience for themselves every important kind of psychological and religious counsel. Isn't that, for the folks listening out there, I know you're going to write your dream down tomorrow morning because you're going to have a really amazing breakthrough just by us speaking about it today.
Yeah. Book number 4, Being at Peace by Thich Nhat Hanh, published in 1987. What an amazing soul he was.
Blessings. Every time my grandfather clock, I try to keep this up. Sometimes I shout back at the clock and said, I'm busy. But when Thich Nhat Hanh says, when you hear the chime or the toll of grandfather, stop and breathe. Inhale, exhale. When you walk in nature, 1 foot forward, inhale, exhale. Next foot forward, inhale. Mindful walking. And I don't know if you saw his samadhi, his whole procession, and the whole week they shared at Plum Village when he passed, but the reverence.
Oh, I know.
Just in Vietnam, Vietnamese, the struggle. We're all in this together, the struggle. And we're asking everybody, please wake up. Understand these elements with each other are an expression of what nature is doing for us, not at us. So what do I say? Distilled wisdom, language, simple and clear, been an influence on how to accept myself and others in the most human way possible, to see the good in all, and to apply my own understanding through Kundalini Yoga, that there is a way through every block. And my dear friend, Kurt Johnson, Dr. Kurt, who wrote the book with me, my book, Light on Kundalini, he's like, Karuna, I'm using all your metaphors for everything now. I'm like, I can hear that. There's a way through every block, Sandra. Listen. And then apply. Just stop, go. There's something that needs to shift. And it's an opportunity, dear one, to, like with your mom right now, I had my 91-year-old mother send me Reiki 3 days ago. And I swear to God, I thought she was gone. She was so quiet on the other line, on the phone. And all of a sudden I hear, Carrie? And I'm like, oh, Mama. Oh my God, I was gone. I was so, and and she felt that love. I said the tenderness, and she felt that emptiness. That's a fullness. And so this book with Thich Nhat Hanh is, and this whole idea about how to breathe and walk in nature and catch the mindset is just, I think all Thich Nhat Hanh's books are valuable. Being Peace is one I have. Yeah. Thank you.
Book number 5, Mala of the Heart, 108 Sacred Poems by Ravi Nathwani?
Yes.
Nathwani and Kate Vogt, published in 2010. 108 Sacred Poems.
Yes. So that's this one, friends. And I pulled it because I thought we could all just take a moment and take a deep inhale, exhale. I always put these books to my third eye point and ask to open where they need to be read. So today I share with you from Hafiz. Children can easily open the drawer. That lets the spirit rise up and wear its favorite costume of mirth and laughter. When the mind is consumed with remembrance of him, something divine happens to the heart. That shapes the hand and tongue and eye into the world of love. So that's what you all opened up. So thank you for holding that space. So yes, the ageless collection of divine poetry is a beautiful gift to anyone who seeks or needs a simple doorway to peace. This book has, as you can see, it's tattered a lot. I travel with her and her poems, and there's just huge lessons in poetry for me. As we know from Mary Oliver and all the great poets. How Sylvia Plath back in the day, right? When, in the 90s, when I was in New York in the 80s, these were the poems that we were reading. And to inspire us as the divine feminine to love each other, to care about each other, to see the struggle again within and around us through the choices of these books I brought forth to share with you all. But it is a real feat in itself. What is it? For myself, this is an extremely helpful companion to bring along to serve in retreats and private workshops. It draws the written word in such a magnificent assembly towards a student's heart. So, of course, the teacher shared this with me, a mentor of mine, and I've continued to use this tool. Beautiful.
Okay, well, we're going to take a short break now. You're listening to an OBS Spiritual Book Club interview, and sharing the 10 books that had the biggest influence on her life journey is former Ford agency model and classically trained actress, 40-year student and teacher of Kundalini Yoga, Karuna. And she is the co-founder of Light on Light Publications and Media and author of the books Light on Kundalini, Your Lifestyle Guide to Yoga and Awakening, and Light on Kundalini Yoga Manual. We'll be back with more from Karuna after this short break. Stay tuned.
Om Times TV.
Maya Angelou once said that there is no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside you. I'm Sandie Sedgbeer, and when I'm not hosting Om Times Media's flagship radio show What Is Going On and the No BS Spiritual Book Club, I help people share their untold stories. Books are my life, my joy and my passion, and there is no greater reward than helping aspiring writers get their books out of their heads and into the hands of those who are waiting to read them. If you feel that you have a book in you but don't know where to begin, visit Sedgbeer.com. Click on the Work With Me tab and find out how my experience helping others tell their stories might be just what you've been looking for. That's Sedgbeer.com, Sedgbeer.com.
Imagine becoming a super influencer. Reinvent yourself, invest in your brand, and then manifest your success with a robust spheric approach. Om Times Media and Broadcasting offers a unique and multifaceted way to become the spiritual and conscious influencer you deserve to be by putting your message across our powerful platform with its proven record of integrity and excellence. Through our produced shows, Om Times offers the opportunity to become a social media TV personality, a radio show host, an Om Times magazine columnist, and a syndicated podcaster, all in one shot. By live streaming your show on Om Times TV and broadcasting it across the extensive Om Times radio and TV networks, you become more than a host. You become an ambassador and a force for positive change. Om Times. Open yourself to the possibilities.
Everything that we do, we can do in a contemplative manner. Through the art of contemplation, you can use the gene keys in a really powerful way. Gene keys is basically the code book of life. In the gene keys, the book is made up of these three levels: shadows, gifts, and siddhis. And the journey is through those three levels, kind of unpicking of the shadow states, the releasing of the gifts, and then the embodying of this higher consciousness called the siddhi. And the siddhis are very exalted words. And it's not like we kind of suddenly are all these exalted Christ-like beings, but we have flashes and illuminations along the journey. And the more we get stuck into the journey, the more illumination comes to us, because the more we're releasing the light from in these codes inside our DNA. So all those revelations are inside us. So the contemplative way is the inner way.
There are 16 million children struggling with hunger in America. That's 1 in 5 daughters, sons, neighbors, and classmates who don't know where their next meal is coming from. Yet billions of pounds of good food go to waste every year. It's time we do something about it. Feeding America is a nationwide network of food banks that helps provide meals to millions of kids and families in need. Visit feedingamerica.org to help them feed even more. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
Welcome back. Karuna, book number 6, Notebooks of a Wandering Monk by Matthew Ricard and Jesse Browner, published in 2021.
Have you read this one?
No.
Oh, fabulous, fabulous, super thick. You know, like the Covenant of Water, like 700 plus pages. But when you've been on a long journey yourself, and I've been to India 7 times, I am back and forth, and it's never glamorous, I must say. It's a real struggle to, you know, find even accommodation, even when you're gifted, you know, what's there. Matthew is a photographer, so I had been working with so many amazing photographers in my career, the best actually. I was very lucky in that way that I was chosen in a very professional way each time I went out to do a photo shoot with amazing people. So I was interested in his photography and how he filmed, like the Queen of Bhutan, had a relationship with that family, then got kicked out of that family. So I understand the dynamic of when you jump into the fire of a dharmic family or, you know, a religion of its kind. There's protocol, and it teaches you how to be a super human being. And each one of us has that quality, not in an egoic way, but a responsibility. So with him, you know, there are huge lessons here for how we all might live our lives with greater mindfulness and compassion. That was John Kabat-Zinn. It is a real feat in itself to wander through the monk's path, visualizing my own path alongside, recognizing each's own unknown twists and turns, and how to be more effectively to deal with them, right? We bring our own. This is an interesting thing. There's that show, that tourist show that shows us that tourists bring their homes with them, and the integrity of their inside of their home, how well they keep it clean, is how well we're, taking care of the planet as we do our thing. We kind of do it the same way. So where's the respect? Where's the discipline? And drawing that back to Kundalini Yoga, there's a discipline. It's 5,000 years old discipline. And it's kindness and it's compassion. And there were never living gurus now on, in the way other yogic traditions have them. It's just the Guru Granth Sahib, which is a 1,500-page text, similar to the Bible, where the Sikhs put in the abundance of music and the abundance of poetry and, and Rumi and Guru Nanak, the first Guru, walked with, a Persian musician and just wanted to bring peace to this planet. And may we say, is today a historical day for you and I to meet? Is there a ceasefire? I mean, can we all just take that breath for a moment and really feel? And if you're in the UK, I'm in Colorado, but how is it feeling over there?
Do you know, I don't know, because I haven't walked out of the house today. I've been preparing for the show, so I don't know.
Fair enough. Beautiful, beautiful. So, so I'm still reminding myself in these times how to go deeper, how to meet people and challenges where they are with compassion. Karuna is Karuna, and it means compassion. And I was given this name, I was gifted this name on the banks of the Mata Ganga in Varanasi, the oldest temple town in India, where they basically burn the bodies and ritual in a Mahashivaratri ceremony. So I thought, well, what does that mean? Well, it means compassion. And how do I live compassion? And then I met the fierce goddess of, the fierce divine feminine goddess, and she's tough with me. So, and Kuan Yin's very helpful. So I have mercy and compassion. So this is Matthew. Yeah, I like this book a lot. I really reference it still.
So book number 7 is A Woman's Journey to God, Finding the Feminine Path by Joan Borisenko, published in 1999. And I know Joan is a friend of yours.
Joni, I hope I will send her this. And have you met Joan?
No, I am trying to get Joni to come on this show.
I'll try to help.
I think the books that changed her life are going to be, valuable contributions to the library.
She is such a lean-in, devoted sister. When I moved here from London, I built quite a log home on a lot of acres. And I was an actress, and I had no clue what this meant at all. I'm from Boulder. I knew that much. So Boulder was familiar. But to go high up into the high country and live in these elements. So I chose this book because Joni starts this book with a walk her and I and a friend took into those wildflower meadows that have changed my life. I have a stump. I have a name for the stump. I've got I know how to hike through that with 3 feet of snow and how to get places. I often take friends and they're like, oh no, do you know where you are? And I'm good. Let's just figure it out. We'll be fine, So there's this beautiful awakening Joni shared with, let me just read it. A Woman's Journey to God, Finding the Feminine Path. Joni Borisenko has produced her finest contribution to the field of human consciousness. And she, by the way, friends, She is living this lifestyle. She used to live in Gold Hill. Now she's moved away from Gold Hill. This is the town, historical town I live in. One recognizes immediately that the insights and truth contained here have come through a soul that has experienced a great deal in this life in order to give so much to others. Her book is brilliant, and that's from Caroline M. Miss, whom we all know. So Joni was a neighbor in my little historical village in Gold Hill, Colorado. And so through mutual friends like Larry Dossie and our hearts connecting, I found a great mentor in Joan. She opens this book with the story of a hike that we took together, as I just shared. So yes, so she'll always remain, those types of women, like the, Tutu and the Dalai Lama, they've met 5 times, but they'll always be the closest of friends. And that's how I feel about Joan.
Yes. Book number 8, The Covenant of Water by Abraham Verghese, 2023. This is a novel, and I have this novel on my iPad. I think I've read about 5 pages. Haven't got further because I have too many other books to read for interviews. But
well, sure,
I've already got the sense of what the book is about.
Yeah, I love the covenant of water. I love the family love. I love the commitment. I love how I strongly view how we are following through in our daily lives now. And it really took my breath away to read this book. India, all the parts that I've been through, and understanding his writing is paramount for us to know where this soul comes from. And so, it's, and then there's that thing, those family secrets that resonated in my upbringing as well. And a mother in pain, a stepfather adopting us and changing our name. It's difficult to read your own story sometimes and I'm so happy it came to me. I bought it. I looked for, no one sent it to me. I bought it. So it's my intuitive responsibility here. So the majestic sweeping story of family secrets still makes me cry. Somehow knowing the truth all along gave me the courage to finish my work with my own biological father, this is me, and to take him to the Mother Ganga, where I was talking about earlier, to receive his liberation. So I love this book. Yeah, it touches home. Don't we always look for something familiar?
Yeah.
Not
book
always.
9. This too is fiction, but it's the first time anyone's ever mentioned this book. So I'm glad that you've added it to the library. Published in 1911, it is The Secret Garden by Frances Hodgson Burnett.
I'm going to share just what I wrote. I remember my future, she was my future at that time, mother-in-law, Laura Ashley. I'll try to get through this, by the way. Sitting at the kitchen round table in upstate New York in a small town called Red Rock, where my fiance had an old house with a barn. Typical Ashleys. She was eating a bag of, so we had left her at this round table to go off to a movie or something, and came back. Why I'd ever had left her, I will never know. But when I found her home in the kitchen, this old house, this round table, she was sitting there eating this bag of chips, and I was like, good on you, and then reading, hovering with The Secret Garden. And I was just, as if it was the first time she ever read it. She wouldn't put it down. And everything, so for me, I'll always carry, I carry these kind of memories because they give me fulfillment and upliftment and a deeper connection. We lost her way too early. She was a pioneer. She was, she was all for women, divine feminine.
Yeah.
And so many women like yourself, I'm so always excited to meet, because I know you were brought up around her, and your mother especially, and probably wore her dresses and had a bit of her fabrics around, right?
I used to buy all of her little squares and make my own, duvet covers, patchwork
Well,
duvet covers.
well
Love
done.
Laura, actually, still do.
Yeah, well done. Well, I'm sure she's with us today, and I'm sure she brought you to me. So that's how I live. So what did I say? So let me just see. Everything at this time in my life, going back to the round table where she was visiting us, and I was still just, we were just engaged, was the sweetest and most beautiful. A New York City Ford fashion model moving across the pond, to find that the willful little girl in me had friends, health, and happiness. Honestly, losing my mother-in-law so early on has made me live my life to its highest standards. As she always reminded me, never mind, this too shall pass. All the time, never mind, and so, as we carry on this deep healing, in my book, I talk about healing grief, and this deep understanding, we reconnect, as I do, with her and my beautiful beloved sister that I lost super early. I was 21, she was 22. We were so close. But these relationships are just because they're meant to stay alive inside of us. So love The Secret Garden.
Yeah. So book number 10, God of Love, A Guide to the Heart of Judaism, Christianity and Islam, by the beautiful Mirabai Starr, published in 2012.
Yes, she's a dear friend. I texted her this morning, and I said I was going to be on your show, and if she wanted to leave anything with us, and she just was so grateful we were sharing her book, and thanking you for sharing her book. And she's in the jungle in Mexico somewhere doing a retreat. So her and I are close. Luckily, through these connections with Father Thomas Keating, the great monk up in Snowmass and all around the world, Contemplative prayer, I think his book is called. I didn't get a number 11. I would have used his. She and I just got to sit in his company. She knew him much more than I did. I actually got to take my mother, who's 91, back to see him for a private audience. And I'll remind you, because it's God of Love, A Guide to the Heart of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam by Mirabai Starr. So when Mama, a Catholic woman, was sitting next to her daughter, me, a yogic, all religions woman, she looked at Father Thomas Keating. We were just sitting in his office alone, and it's not long ago. Sometimes I just don't understand, Mama says. And he said, oh, Diana, it's the same God for all of us.
Yeah.
And that was such a gift to receive. It wasn't only a confirmation that I'm okay, Mom, actually. I'm going to survive this, and that you did nothing wrong by me waking up, growing up, cleaning up, showing up, to open up, to lift up, to light up. So, yeah, I really love Mirabai as a friend and a sister. And, and the book brought me back to reminding me of one of the practices in Kundalini Yoga is the mind. And beloved ones, there are 9 aspects of our mind, and there's 27. So each aspect has 3 meditations to go into that aspect and determine how you can as we said, get through that block, whatever's blocking you. And so we use the mind a lot. And in these words and these belief systems and in this mantra mudra connection, you actually can release the subconscious patterns from the ancestors who actually gave you the torch to relay the message now, here and now, and to take responsibility and to bring others into that all religions are one. If there's even, we're just one. So,
When are we
yes.
going to get it?
Sorry?
When are we going to get it that we are just one?
I know. We will.
We will. We will.
That is my prayer. Universal prayer is that we will get it. And we're more interested now than ever before in this, because this old way, this Piscean way, not Pisces or Aquarius, is now the Aquarian way. And in the Kali Yuga, the Dark Age, we're in the Sat Yuga, the Truth Age. Sat means truth.
Yeah.
So let us just, practice and be reminded of this is all by thy will be done.
Yeah.
And you are not the target out there. You are so loved and actually rewarded when you're in a situation where you have to wake up in it and make a move. So let us, as the Dalai Lama reminds me to remind you, let us not medicate. Let us meditate. Yeah, so those are my 10. I mean, there's so many more.
10. And we've got about 7 minutes left. And what I want to say is, I mean, you have done so many things. You still do so many things. Many embodiments in this lifetime, identified by different names. I mean, it's just, your life is just incredible. 7 minutes. We can talk about Light on Light magazine. We can talk about your book, or we can talk about there's your book. And I know we're going to do another interview where we focus totally on that.
Okay, we'll talk about that then.
The Mothers, which I think is an organization that everybody needs to be talking about. The Mothers.
I want to invite everybody to Founding Mothers movement, because it gives you an opportunity to volunteer your skills. And so you've got a skill. You're great at tech, or you're great at communication. So we need media, big time. People, a circle of media, and we have a proclamation circle, and Laura George from the Oracle Institute, and Jude Caravan, comes on from time to time. Rianne Eisler as well. And P.S. I just taught her Kundalini Yoga for the first time in her life, and she's 93.
Oh my God.
And we're doing a documentary. So we must, on her life. And I mean, she's incredible, the child from the source.
She is.
So have you had her on yet?
Oh, I've several times. And
yes,
she's been on this show and others. I mean, she's my hero. She is my hero.
It was divine. I just want to, if I took the next 7 minutes to talk about Rianne, come on, ladies, volunteer your skills for Founding Mothers movement. Volunteer your insight, your words, your anything that you can contribute to. Every Wednesday at noon Eastern, you make some noise. For me, I say a prayer, light the fire, light an insight. Have an awareness that you're participating, and it gives you so much back. It's called selfless service. So if we were to talk about seva in the yogic way, so yoga is universal. It's for indigenous. It's all, it's for every aspect of your life. It's about staying healthy, happy, and wholesome. And, so the word yoga is universal. But to really step into the mastery is to use your skills. So we're putting together with my dear friend Lauren volunteer village. And I hope she got that from It Takes a Village. Of course, but volunteer village is a cool name, and that's just beginning. So we need partnerships. We need delegates. Laura George has this so organized. So you just go to foundingmothers.org and sign up. You can bring 25 people and become a delegate, or you just sign up on your own. And we care about you, and we want to offer you a place. For me, I am in the peace room in the Founding Mothers, which is an honor, but it's a dedication. It's a discipline. I had to write, about health and wellness, and my modem or my totem is the snake, which is perfect because so Kunda, the base of the spine, is a pent up energy for lifetimes. And when you switch that on and it spirals like a snake up your spine, it brings the divine masculine and feminine together. And you discover your destiny, most importantly, your purpose. And so when you work with this really bright group of women and men, you have this ability to find more and more how your talents serve others and yourself by giving them. Volunteering, selfless service, seva.
Which is very good for the health. It's very good for people's mental, physical, emotional, psychological health.
Yes.
Also, people who volunteer live longer.
Absolutely. And then I'd like to invite everybody to my retreat. Speaking of living longer, you actually brought that forth. So the Blue Zone. How do you live longer? You go visit the Blue Zone 7 days in Costa Rica in December from the 6th to the 13th. You can come join me, Sandie. I'd love to have you. It's so nurturing. David Pramal and Miton live on site. And I just, I'm teaching all day and I'm counseling all night. And all of a sudden I go to my room and I hear the sound current from above, and they're in concert above my room. And I'm just like, divine.
Yeah.
And I sit in there and they all of a sudden start singing Ramadasa Sase Soham. And I'm like, that's my mantra for healing. That's my mantra. So those kind of miracles, I just want to shower everyone with love. I just want to shower your show with love. I want to shower everything you're doing with love. And for me, as a new author, my first book, she's exactly how I wanted her to come out, because she's handy and handy, and she gives us the capability of how to find courage when we most need it, is right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah.
And I think, I don't remember who I was talking to over the last few days, but may have even been Lauren Lamore.
That's Lauren. Yeah.
Women. It's the women that are going to make the change. It's the women that are going to bring peace. And we're just waiting for it, So the women can do it, because
we need to invite each other in. That's Lauren Lamore. That's the volunteer village. We need to invite each other in and welcome each other. And that is, thank you for bringing that up. Yeah. We are going to do it. We are going to shift it. And guess what? The divine feminine will shift you and shape you into exactly who you are. You don't have to go on radical diets. You don't have to do too much yoga. You don't have to do too much of anything. You just really understand the cadence of that meditative step. and just take it all in. I'm so grateful to be here with you. I'm just, oh.
Well, we're almost at the end of the show now. One question I have to ask you, and that is, this always happens to me. I forget his name every time. Steve Jobs. When Steve Jobs' memorial service, he had Yogananda's book, Autobiography of a Yogi, given to every single person. What book would you give to people at your memorial? We're going to be very quick with this.
Light on Kundalini, your lifestyle guide to yoga and awakening. And I would gift you with the manual so I can leave you with a tool that is not going to, but the Yogananda, you can't get better than the Yogananda book. And by the way, that lake shrine survived this fire. And it is stunning that the only building that was taken from the lake shrine, Yogananda Retreat Center, were the toilets. Just saying.
Yeah. Karuna, we have to leave it here, unfortunately. I want to thank you for adding your 10 best list of spiritual books to the No BS Spiritual Book Club's library of recommendations. Thank you.
You're amazing. I'm so honored. Thank you.
Thank you.
Blessings and blessings to Mama.
Thank you. Yes. For more information about Karuna's books, events, videos, and her blog and her retreats, visit lightonkundalini.com. And I think you've got an app as well, Light on Kundalini app.
It's LOK. LOK app. Yeah. Thank you for mentioning it. Thank you so much.
That's it for this week. I'm Sandie Sedgbeer, and I'll be back at the same time next week with another 10 best interview for the No BS Spiritual Book Club. Till then, it's goodbye from me, and thank you, Karuna.
Thank you, dear. Thank you, Satnam. Blessings. Stay well. Thank you all.